Pune, once known for its peaceful ambience, was now gripped by fear. Whispers of unexplained deaths echoed in its bustling streets. 3 women, seemingly unconnected, had taken their own lives. The authorities ruled each case as suicide. But Inspector Aditya Roy, a man known for his sharp instincts, felt a chill run down his spine. Something was amiss. He shared his unease with his deputy, Jatin. "There's something more to these cases, Jatin," he said, his voice heavy with suspicion. "We need to delve deeper." Jatin, eager to prove himself, nodded in agreement. "Yes, sir, the evidence does seem convenient." The cases were straightforward, open and shut. Yet the ease of it all bothered Aditya. His gut told him a darker story was waiting to be uncovered. A story hidden beneath the surface of despair and desperation. A story that whispered of something more sinister than mere suicide. The first case was that of Mrs. Meera Khanna, the wife of a prominent banker. Found hanging in her lavish bedroom, her death sent shockwaves through the city's elite. The scene was textbook, a suicide note penned in shaky handwriting, no signs of struggle, and a seemingly distraught husband. The note spoke of her battle with depression. Her husband, Mr. Khanna, confirmed her struggles. Aditya, however, noticed a slight tremor in Mr. Khanna's hands, a subtle avoidance of eye contact. He examined the suicide note closely. The handwriting was shaky, yes, but something felt off. The pressure on the pen stroke seemed inconsistent, almost as if someone was trying to imitate Mrs. Khanna's writing. The doubt lingered in Aditya's mind, refusing to be ignored. He ordered a detailed analysis of the note, determined to uncover any hidden discrepancies. The second case involved Dr. Anjali Sharma, a renowned surgeon, found dead in her bathtub. An empty bottle of sleeping pills lay by her side. Again, the initial assessment was suicide. The pressure of her demanding job, coupled with a recent divorce, seemed like plausible motives. But something didn't sit right with Aditya. He examined Dr. Sharma's apartment. Everything was meticulously organized, too perfect for someone about to end their life. He noticed a faint smell of almonds, a telltale sign of cyanide poisoning. The sleeping pills were a red herring. Aditya's suspicion grew. He ordered a toxicology report, certain that the pills were not the cause of death. The case was becoming more complex, the pieces of the puzzle refusing to fit. The third death was perhaps the most shocking. Professor Maya Joshi, a respected academic, allegedly jumped from the roof of her university building. Witnesses claimed to have seen her standing precariously close to the edge, her face etched with despair. The police concluded it was a clear case of suicide driven by the recent loss of her husband. However, Aditya remained skeptical. He examined the rooftop and found no signs of a struggle. Professor Joshi's belongings were neatly placed near the edge, as if staged. Furthermore, the witnesses who claimed to have seen her on the edge couldn't provide a consistent description. Their accounts were riddled with contradictions, casting further doubt on the suicide theory. Aditya was now convinced these were no ordinary suicides. He needed to find the missing link, the thread that connected these seemingly unrelated deaths. As Aditya and Jatin delved further into the victims' lives, they stumbled upon a startling connection. All 3 women had something in common. Their husbands had employed the same lawyer, Vikram Sethi. Sethi was once a legal eagle, a name synonymous with success. However, his career took a nosedive a few years ago due to a scandal. He was accused of tampering with evidence, a charge that tarnished his reputation but could not be proven. Jatin pulled up Sethi's file on his computer. "Sir, Sethi's fall from grace was quite dramatic. He lost everything, his reputation, his clients, his wealth. He lives a secluded life now, a shadow of his former self." This information sent a jolt through Aditya. Could Sethi be seeking revenge on the husbands of his victims? The motive was there, but Aditya needed concrete evidence to link Sethi to the deaths. The investigation was far from over. Aditya decided to pay Vikram Sethi a visit. He found the once famous lawyer living in a modest apartment, his demeanor a stark contrast to the confident lawyer he once was. Sethi's eyes held a mixture of sadness and bitterness, a reflection of his shattered life. "Inspector Roy," Sethi said, his voice laced with resignation. "I assume you're here about my former clients' wives?" Aditya, maintaining his composure, replied, "We're investigating the deaths, Mr. Sethi, and we need your cooperation." Sethi listened patiently as Aditya questioned him about his connection to the victims' husbands. He spoke of handling their divorce proceedings and acknowledged the bitterness involved. He denied any involvement in the deaths, claiming he was a ruined man, not a murderer. But Aditya noticed a flicker of something dark in Sethi's eyes, a hint of satisfaction that he couldn't quite place. Days turned into nights, as Aditya and Yatin tirelessly pieced together the puzzle. They re-examined the evidence, scrutinized financial records, and interviewed acquaintances. The deeper they dug, the more suspicious Sethi became. They discovered that Sethi had secretly contacted each of the victims before their deaths, using a burner phone he thought was untraceable. The calls were brief, but their timing was too coincidental to ignore. Furthermore, forensic analysis revealed traces of a rare, odorless sedative on the belongings of all three victims. The same sedative was found in a hidden compartment in Sethi's car during a search warrant. The evidence was mounting, painting a damning picture of Sethi's involvement. The net was closing in. Aditya and Jatin brought Sethi in for questioning. Confronted with the overwhelming evidence, Sethi's carefully constructed facade crumbled. He confessed to orchestrating the deaths, but not in the way Aditya expected. "I didn't kill them, Inspector," Sethi said, his voice a mix of despair and chilling calmness. "I merely gave them the means, the poison, the rope, the final push. They chose their own fate. They were already broken, driven to despair by their husband's cruelty. I simply offered them a way out." Sethi went on to detail the husband's abusive behavior, the constant infidelity, the emotional manipulation, the financial control. He spoke of how the women were trapped, their spirits slowly crushed beneath the weight of their husband's actions. Sethi, having experienced the flaws of the legal system firsthand, felt compelled to act, to offer these women a twisted form of justice. Sethi's confession sent shockwaves through the police department. The case that began as a series of suspected suicides had taken a sinister turn, revealing a web of deceit, desperation, and vigilante justice. While Sethi's actions were undeniably criminal, his motives were complex, blurred by his own sense of righteousness. He had exploited the vulnerabilities of broken women, manipulating their pain to serve his own twisted sense of justice. He had taken the law into his own hands, becoming the judge, jury, and executioner. Aditya was torn. He had a duty to uphold the law, to bring Sethi to justice for his crimes. But a part of him couldn't help but question the thin line between justice and revenge, the gray area where morality was tested and the consequences were far-reaching. The mystery was solved, but the questions it raised lingered, leaving a bitter aftertaste in Aditya's mouth.